Hey, what's up guys? This is my Yamaha XS 650. I've had this bike in my storage unit for the last 5 years. I didn't do a single thing to it, and now I want to know, can I get this thing running? Like everybody, I had too many projects, I still have too many projects, and that's why I want to fix this thing up, because the goal is to actually sell it, unfortunately. But before we can sell it, there are a whole lot of things that need to happen. Front brake got stuck. When I bought it, that wasn't stuck. That's just from sitting for the past 5 years. Carbs are stuck as well. As you can see, there's no petcock right here right now. That was the only thing wrong with it. Said the previous owner that it needed a new petcock because it was leaking. One thing that I still don't understand how, but the original battery, or the battery that that it had when I bought it, is still in here, and somehow it still has some juice left in it. So as you can see, these lights are still working. I mean, I don't think it'll have enough juice to actually crank over, but well, it actually made a sound. I don't know how, that seems super odd to me. Let's see if the lights work. Front light even works. Rear doesn't. Does the brake light work? Let's see if we push the brake light works. So I don't know how this battery is even able to withstand the test of time, but it did. Other things on the bike did very much not withstand the test of time. Like I said, front brake is stuck. The carb right here. See the throttle cables right here. This is stuck as well. Can't seem to move it, so we gotta clean the carb up. Doesn't have any fuel lines, so we gotta add that. Like I said earlier, there's no petcock right here, as you can see, so we gotta fix that. Another fuel line, vacuum line, bunch of stuff we gotta fix. But as you can see, it's super dirty, and everything on this bike is. So before we do anything else, first thing I really want to do is get this bike a super deep clean. Then we'll start working on the bike. After that, maybe we'll polish up some stuff. But the first thing that I really want to do is just actually wash this bike. So let's go do it. So the bike is washed, and that wash was definitely worth it. The bike looks so much better. It's absolutely insane. Very happy with that. That's very motivating for me to, in the end, maybe polish a couple of things up and make it look even better than it already does. But cleaned up really well, so I'm really happy with that. So there are two things that I really want to do right now. I'm not expecting that battery to actually hold a charge, but seeing how it was actually still doing something, I want to take the battery out, put it on a tender, and just see what happens. After that, the first thing I really want to fix is this brake right here. It's just dangling right here. That can be good for the line, but it's just annoying to me, and it's bumping into the gas tank, making scratches and stuff like that. So we just want to get rid of that. So for now, we're going to take the battery out and start working on this brake. Alright, the battery's on the charger, which means now we can tackle our problem with the front caliper. Let's see if I can show you this. As you can see right here, the two brake pads are fully touching each other. There's not really any movement left whatsoever. I think I'm just going to try and get this brake pad right here out. After that, we should have more than enough space to actually try and press the other brake pad back, and then we should be good to go. But I have no idea how this is going to work out, but we'll just give it a go, see what happens. It's definitely not enough for disc, but it's definitely an improvement. Alright, so I was struggling a little bit, but that's just because I'm stupid. Because if you just turn out this bolt, this entire assembly comes apart, and you just are able to lift it out. Anyway, we got that figured out, which means now it's going to be a whole lot easier just to push this piston right here, right back. So I'm going to grab my tool that I have for that. We're gonna push it back. After that, we should be able to just slide it on the floor right here. Right, so this is the tool that I got. I'm just gonna jam this in between right here. And by turning this thing like that, those two plates will separate and eventually push our piston back. Or at least that's the goal. So let's see what happens. Finally was able to push the piston back. What I eventually did was just have the caliper inside of the vice grip and just jam on it. And after a couple of tries, it just popped back in. It definitely needs a brake fluid flush. I don't have any DOT3 fluid right here, so we'll do that later part today. But for now, we can finally put our brake caliper back on. So the front brake is back on the bike and it's not stuck anymore, which is great. I still have to put some DOT3 fluid in there. I don't have any of that laying around right now, so we'll do that at a later time, but this is definitely good enough for now. So the next thing that I really want to tackle are the carbs. The throttle cable as well, which is of course connected to the carb, is in desperate need of replacement, so we're going to replace that. The throttle on the carbs themselves are actually stuck, so I'm going to try and just put some WD-40 on that. Hopefully that'll be enough to get them unstuck. And after we'll be able to pull them out, we're just going to clean it with some regular brake cleaner. So let's get these carbs off, see if we can fix this thing. There we go. Carbs are right here. They're off the bike and on the bench. And as you can see, well, this one is actually pretty loose, but everything's pretty stuck in here. Eventually you can get some movement, but this definitely needs some help. So what I'm going to do is just take it all apart, try to clean everything up. In the meantime, I am going to spray everything right here with some WD-40 because this is stuck as well. Like I said earlier, the throttle's super stuck. I can push it a bit like that. That should be super easy. It's definitely not. So we'll put some WD-40 on this first. Then we'll open it up, top and bottom. Put it back together and hopefully everything should work the way it's supposed to. Ooh, these are all super stuck. Oh, nope, no bueno. There we go. There we go. Right, top side of the carbs is open, and the first thing that I really noticed is that this wall inside here is super sticky. Don't really know how that comes to be, but it's super sticky. It's almost as if there's been like glue in there or something. So definitely have to clean that up. And as you can see as well, yeah, my finger's already pretty dirty, but if I take it like this, that's very dirty. So we're gonna clean all this up. We're gonna clean the insides up. That should be take care of a much smoother movement. As you can see right here, super dirty as well. It's also pretty sticky. So we're gonna clean this up as well, so that the movement should be a whole lot smoother. All right, so the top side of the carbs are cleaned up. As you can see, these slides used to be super stuck, and now I come just up. Well, that's not good. As you can see, they move super easy now, so that's good. It's also cleaned up a lot on the inside right here. That's all clean. We got our choke working, as you can see right here. So that's good. So we're gonna put the tops back together, And then we'll attack the bottom, clean our jets and stuff like that. There we go. Ground reveal. It's pretty dirty, but not that bad. This one comes right off. This one's, ooh, damn. Look at that. It's green and it got some like nasty slush in there. Ugh, it stinks. Alright, so the carb is cleaned up. As you can see, our float is moving again. This pin was super stuck. I had to put a whole lot of effort into actually getting this thing out. As you can see, this one's still super stuck. This just moves easy. There's no movement in here whatsoever. So we're going to try and get the pin out right here. And just repeat the process. So let's give this thing a whack. See what happens. Also, I'm using a nail and I know that looks like a dumb idea, but we actually grinded the top down so it's not that sharp anymore. So didn't damage the other pin, so it should be fine on this one. So let's give it a whack. See if it wants to come out. Well, I think there was some movement there. There we go. Oh wait, this thing's, oh fuck. Oh no. Got it out, but definitely not in a way that I hoped that I would get it out, because basically just ruined the entire carb. This pin right here is so stuck that instead of moving, it just actually broke this entire thing that's supposed to be right here. It just broke off. So all the time spent on cleaning this carb is absolutely useless now, because we can't fix this. Alright, so it's a couple days later. I let the frustration settle for a little bit. I've decided to actually try and repair this, because I feel it's kind of the waste, because just one thing broke to just buy an entire new set, which is also very expensive, even used. So we're going to try and glue it, or like a JB Weld type of thing, but just a Dutch variant. So the thing that broke is this thing right here. So this is what holds the pin and therefore the float. As you can see right here. Okay, it broke off right here, but if I put this thing on here and let it go, you can barely see that it broke off. So the idea is to glue it, and the way I want to do it is have our two component mixture mixed thoroughly, of course. And after that, we'll put it on here and we'll use a pin from another carb that I have laying around. And put that through, as I'm trying to do right now. Come on, there we go. And put it like this. Like that. You can barely see that it's broken now, so I feel like this should work pretty well. The stuff that I bought should be heat, cold and chemical resistant. Online I've read that people actually stop their gas tank from leaking. That's from a car, so quite a bit more pressure leak-wise. And that all worked fine, so it's at least worth trying. So we're definitely going to do that. I'm also going to buy a rebuild kit for this carb, because the bushing, or whatever you want to call it, the little tube that's inside of the float right here, got bent as well when I broke the freaking carb. Very long story, but whatever. I'm gonna put some glue in this, put it on there, wait for 24 hours. Hopefully that'll fix our issue. Alright, as you can see, it's on there. You can see the glue as well right here. Angle looks pretty good. I still move this pin freely. So I guess we'll wait for 24 hours and hopefully this should work. I guess we'll find out in about 24 hours. Since we're waiting for the glue on the carb to dry, I thought why not take care of some of the optics on the bike. So the first thing I really want to attack is the rust right here. It's just some fly rust, I feel like. I think we can just take this off in a matter of seconds and it'll make the bike look a whole lot better. What I also want to do is just polish these valve covers, mostly because I just think it's fun to do. But I think with all those covers polished up, and especially this one as well, the bike would look heaps better and hopefully sell that a little bit quicker. So we're going to take the rust off first because that's the most annoying thing to me, and after that we'll start polishing some stuff up. Alright, it's yet another day. As you can see, I was able to take the rust off. It's obviously not like chrome anymore, but personally I think it looks a whole lot better than when it was brown and rusty. I also tried polishing this cover just for a couple of seconds just to see what happens. And as you can see, well, in my opinion, it looks way better. There's a whole lot of less spots going on and much more of a mirror effect. So the last little parts for the bike should arrive today. While we're waiting, we're just gonna polish every little cover and stuff like that to make that look all nice. And hopefully by the time we're done, our parts will be here, so we can start putting this bike back together. Alright, so I'm done with polishing. It's looking pretty damn good if you ask me. You can always do way better, of course, but I actually already did more than I wanted to. But everything is looking pretty nice and shiny. I'm very happy with that. I didn't feel like sanding down and really starting from zero, but well, as you can see, the forks and the side covers and the valve covers are looking pretty damn good. I'll try and get some before and after pictures in the video if I have them. But definitely a very big improvement. So in the meantime, our new parts have arrived. The first thing is the left side of the airbox, because what I didn't know when I bought the bike, which is over 5 years ago, is that it didn't have a cover, the left side. So it was on here like this. And with the CV carbs that we have, that's going to be quite an issue, especially because the carbs will have different types of vacuum or velocity or whatever you want to call it. Also, the joining piece for the airbox didn't have any rings on them, any rubber rings. And the new one does, as you can see right here. So now we have a properly functioning airbox, which is great. A couple of other parts that have arrived. Fuel lines, no big deal, and some plugs, because we won't be using the vacuum lines anymore, so we're going to plug those. New throttle cable, because the other one was in desperate need of replacement. And the final thing that I bought is, I have no idea what I should call this, but it's for the side cover. Usually you are able to hold it in place with this thing, so like just a spring and a thing you can turn. As you can see, that's missing right here. So we bought that so we can replace that as well. So everything should be good. So the other parts that we have are for the carburetor. So we'll take the carburetor back apart, put that stuff back in. After that, we should be able to put the bike back together and hopefully get it started. All right, so here are the carbs again. Actually already put it back together again. As you can see, The glue held, there's no movement in there. To be honest, I am still a little bit nervous about it breaking, but it's held on thus far. I was able to put it back together, so hopefully we should be good. I remember saying that I was going to buy in a rebuild kit and use that, but those were a little bit too expensive for what I needed, so I just decided to buy just the pin. And as you can see, our floats can move freely, so we should be good to go. So we're gonna put this thing back together, and hopefully we can put it on a bike and it'll actually work properly. So let's do it. Alright, carbs are finally on. It was a little bit of a challenge, as you saw. The frame right here is quite a bit in the way, especially with all the wiring and stuff like that going on. But got it on, so it's finally time to put our airbox on. Alright, moving on to the side cover right here. We have our latch thingy, and I actually already started working on this thing. Really replaced the rubber. As you see, looking pretty fresh. This one's very old and shitty, so replace that. Now we got to put in our latch, and I unfortunately already uncovered a slight, well, I don't know if I want to call it a problem, but something that we need to fix. Because the spring is a little bit too big, because if we install it on our side cover right here, I'll show you, the spring has to fully compress for the pin to even show. So that's definitely too much spring to actually latch it onto the bike. I saw another video of a guy online who had the same issue, and he actually just shortened the spring, and that worked. So that's exactly what I'm going to try. I'm just going to take a little bit off and take a little bit more off each time until I feel it's right. So we're going to try and cut it. I don't think cutting it like this will be enough, so we're going to get some big bolt cutters, or we'll just use the angle grinder. But I'm going to try and cut a little bit off. Try again, hopefully that'll be enough. Otherwise we'll just take some more off. Took about a centimeter, something like that, off. Hopefully that's enough, so let's try again. This definitely could work. I'm not sure if it's enough, but gonna try and put it back together. All right, let's see. It is pretty tight still, but maybe we should take off a little more, because you have to push really hard to get it in. Took a little bit off. Lengthwise, I would say 2 or 3 millimeters, so not a lot, because I do want it to be a tight fit. Don't want to be dangling loose on there, but that's much better. That was easy. Yeah, this is good. Still pretty stuck on here. That feels good. Right, side covers are back on. It's kind of starting to look like a bike again. Next up would be the petcock. I am going to put a little bit of oil on the seal right here. So when we tighten it down, it moves a little bit freer. Obviously, it's going to be so little that it's not going to go in the gas tank, but just want to make sure that this seal seals properly, because otherwise we will still have our leaking issue, and I definitely don't want that. So we're going to put a little bit of oil on here. After that, we'll put it in the gas tank, and I guess then we'll try to put some gas in there and see whether it'll actually leak or not. You can barely see it, but it is a bit smoother. So now we'll try and put this thing in here. There we go. Alright, so this is the part where we put some gas in the tank to see whether it's not leaking anymore. I am a little bit nervous about that. We should be good, but I really just don't want it started leaking and me having to clean up and smelling it like gas for the coming 6 weeks. I guess there's just nothing left but just to do it. I do have my microfiber ready to catch some gas. Is it? Oh my god, this petcock is leaking like crazy. Fuck. Oh no, oh fuck. Oh shit, oh fuck, it's going everywhere. Fuck. Why is it doing that? Oh fuck. Oh, I should have been more prepared. Oh man. I remember when I bought that new petcock, thinking maybe I should just buy 2 just to be sure, so I can have this, just replace this petcock as well. But this one should have been good. But as you can tell, it's definitely not. Life. Well, that was obviously quite a fail. I just ordered a new petcock. Rebuilding it, it's actually more expensive than just buying a new petcock, so I just ordered a new one. And while we wait, I might as well just do all the other little things that still need to be done to get this bike at least semi-road worthy. I want to bleed the front brake and actually just give it a full fluid flush. I want to do the same thing for the rear. Couple of other minor things like follow cable, putting some plugs on the vacuum where the vacuum lines were, fuel lines. Take the old bolt-on passenger pegs off. They're not supposed to be there anyway, and I think we could reuse those in our chopper build, which is in the background obviously all the time. So I want to start with flushing the front brake. After that we'll do the rear and all the other minor stuff. So by the time that our petcock arrives, we can just hook it up, hook a fuel line up to it, and hopefully get this thing running. Alrighty, so the bike's back together again. We did our flush, everything. Petcock came in and is installed, and as you can see, it's not leaking any gas because we already put just a little bit of gas in here this time. Not that much as, not as much as the previous time because I didn't want it to start leaking again. Didn't know what would happen. It's not leaking, which I'm very happy about. So petcock installed. We got the fuel lines, we got the plugs on there, so it should be ready to go. The battery's installed again as well. So the first thing that I want to check is, did the battery actually charge, or is it holding a charge? So let's see what happens if we try to crank it over. That's working, that's really good. So right about now, I think it would be a really good time to start it and to make it a little bit harder on ourselves. Just for fun, we'll try and kickstart it instead of using the electrical charge. Why? Well, I like to suffer, so let's just try and kickstart this thing. I'm gonna put a little bit more gas in here because, like I said, it was just a tiny bit of gas that I put in here. So we're gonna put some more gas in there, and after that, I guess we'll just start kicking and see what happens. All right, let's see what happens. Choke on. Maybe we'll just give it a couple of prime kicks. Definitely still compression there. All right. I think I did hear something there. Come on, baby. Oh. All right, so already gave it quite a couple of kicks. Doesn't want to start yet. Whew. Regained most of my breath, I guess. So let's give it a couple more kicks, see what happens. Come on, baby. All right. Doesn't really want to start right now. Let's check if we get a proper spark going on. All right, the spark plug is new, so I think it is safe to assume that it is working. It's also kind of wet, so I'm assuming there's gas. I know this bike has good compression, so I'm not too worried about that. So let's check our spark and also check if it's a strong enough spark or not, because if it's a super weak spark, that's maybe not enough. So let's see whether it actually sparks or not. It is maybe a little bit on the weaker side, but assuming it would be enough. But I don't want to keep on kicking this thing. We want to get it running, of course. So I'm gonna take this cover off, check our timing. Maybe we got some corrosion or something else going on. We can clean it up a bit and get a little bit of a fatter spark going on, because of course that's what we want. There we go. Right, so far I can't really see anything that worries me. I know we have a spark, so it can't be that bad, but maybe there's some corrosion in between our points, or it does feel a little bit greasy, so maybe we can clean that grease up a little bit. Hopefully get ourselves a fatter spark going on. So I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. After that we'll try a spark again, see whether it looks good or not. Let's do it. Right, we cleaned it up. It doesn't feel greasy anymore. Also, if there was any corrosion in between our contact points, I used a little bit of sandpaper to get that off if there was any. So I think it's time we give it another go. All right, update time. We obviously had a spark, cleaned it up. Spark should be better. Still wasn't running. Of course, off camera, I tried a couple of different things. So what I did was just directly down the spark plug hole, put a little bit of brake cleaner just to see if it would run or not. Oh. Which I'll do again right now. Not that much, but just a little something. Right, so we got a little bit brake cleaner in each cylinder. And I'm assuming this time as well, it'll do something. See, so it does run for just a second. So one way or another, it's not getting any gas, I'm assuming. Gas should still be good, so that shouldn't be our issue. So we're gonna take the carbs back off again, check whether those are gunky or not. I mean, hopefully almost. Then we'll put it back on the bike, and then we should have a running bike. We have compression, we have spark. If we put some fluid in there, it runs for just a second, so it should be good. I know the compression is good. I checked it, it's fine. So that can't be our problem. It runs for a millisecond, so it should just simply be a fuel thing. But somehow I have a feeling it's gonna be a little bit more complicated than that. But I guess we'll just take the carbs off, clean them, and then we'll see what happens. carbs are off. Usually with a little bit newer carb you would have like a screw and you can easily drain the fluid out or the fuel out. Unfortunately this carb doesn't have that. And I'm also actually curious whether it's actually getting any gas, because I can already turn this loose and this. Alright, well, at least one of the carbs is holding gas. This time we'll make sure we are a little bit more ready to dump our gas. At least the floats are getting filled with gas, that's good. It wasn't leaking, so the floats are apparently properly adjusted. So my hope actually is that the jets are gunked up somehow. Needles and all move fine. So hopefully it's just the jets getting clogged up with some leftover crap that was in the carb that we didn't know about. So we'll clean those and we'll give it another go. You're not going to be able to see that it's definitely opened up a lot, but it looks a whole lot cleaner. So that's pretty good news. So we're gonna put it back and hope that was our issue. Obviously gonna open up the other side as well. Alrighty, obviously the bike is completely back together. Check this out. Our bike is obviously running, which of course I'm very happy with. So that meant that the last little cleaning that we did on the carb was necessary, thankfully. One thing you probably noticed is that the bike doesn't really want to idle yet, and maybe you heard it too, but there's, I think, a slight rattle coming from the timing chain, so that needs adjusting. Those are definitely two things that we could do, but I'm not going to do these because I actually already posted the bike online and somebody is already interested. So they're going to come out and check this bike out in a couple of days. And I'm very much assuming that they're going to take the bike with them. It's a very good deal in my opinion, and I think they think the same thing. So that brings us to the end of the video. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would greatly appreciate it if you liked the video. If you want to see more stuff like this and all kinds of other projects that we got going on, for instance this GS750 chopper, I would highly suggest subscribing. For now, I really want to thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you at the next one. See you.